back to the SML podcast, Playing the Field with Field General 007. It's a Throwback Thursday. We've got a special guest coming on the Horn segment, and I'm going to break down my schedule and just kind of everything else that's going on around the league right now. We're going to go ahead and get to the On the Horn segment now. All right, today's On the Horn segment is a little bit of a throwback. We've got Colts Primetime 000, the commissioner of the league. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, man? How's it going? Thanks for having me on the show.
It's awesome. We need to talk about what's going on in the SML right now. What is going on with the Colts? Why are you losing in emphatic fashion, 44-7 to the Jaguars, and everyone jumping on that like vultures? So just kind of break it down. Why are you struggling this season?
You know, I'm not playing my best, and I'm playing against some very high-level guys early on. Jaguars twice. He's a Super Bowl champ. We played... And I've played a few other guys Titans is another guy. You know, it's between playing bad and then playing guys who were really good. You know, you're going to get your butt whooped. Play the Broncos. Great guy. He's actually from England.
Who?
High-level guys, and I'm playing bad.
Oh, the Broncos guy. Okay. So let me ask you, do you feel that, and I've mentioned this before, that this Madden puts a bigger emphasis on ratings and scheme, and that's really two things that really don't play in your favor, because one, you don't really care about pre-play call. You don't look at the play call screen, see what your opponent's coming out to. You don't pay too much close attention to that. And your ratings obviously are not good. You're the Colts. Do you feel like those are true sentiments? Because Madden's past, the last couple Maddens, I mean, that's never seemed to matter. Like, generally, you win the first Super Bowl every time, or nearly every time. I mean, you're always in contention. Getting in the playoffs has never been a big deal. Last season, you got on by the skin of your teeth. This season, we don't even know if you're going to be in the race. What do you think about that?
All right, so obviously the ratings, it's kind of hard to deny the fact that they play a bigger deal this year in the game. The Colts were ranked one of the worst teams to start off a franchise with in Madden 19. I think the worst, actually. There's not a lot of talent on the team. So, you know, it's tough to win with a team that's bad overall. Team thing, you know, I don't know as much about that. You know, yeah, that's up in the air. That's debatable, but we know for sure the ratings. But I do want to say that we started off last year 1-3 as well.
You did.
For this year, but you know, we got on an 8-game win streak, and a lot of the games we played last year were close. This year I'm kind of getting blown out a little bit, but I think we can get in a rhythm. I'm seeing what the pundits are saying in chat. It's pissing me off. It's killing me.
Well, let me ask you this. You know, the game has changed. If you don't agree with scheme or any of that, do you see a difference in the way that people are playing this year opposed to last year or years past? Are they maybe more run heavy, or are you seeing any differences, or not so much?
Right. So guys are doing a little more outside running, a little more, but everyone plays about the same in terms of there's just different things that the game does itself, how it reacts, just in general. Like you said, it's obvious the game plays different than it has in years past. This isn't, you know, it's easy to say this isn't my favorite game because I'm winning, but I think last year's Madden was just a better playing Madden than this year's Madden.
And we used custom sliders in that Madden as well.
Right.
I think we're still on stock.
But there's just right. But I mean, the game is definitely different,
right?
But you'll see the same every year. This year just seems to be a little more effective.
So how can you right the ship? I mean, you're playing bad. You talked about that. I mean, what do you do different to fix it?
Kind of go back to the basics. You know, let's not. There's around 2010. There was Peyton Manning's last year on the Colts, actually.
Right.
And he went through a stint where he threw like 3 or 4 picks a game for like 3 games in a row. I mean, they lost to the Titans, they lost to the Cowboys, and he was just like throwing picks. And then there was a game they played on Thursday Night Football, and then he threw like 3 touchdowns, you know, 300 yards, something like that.
Right.
And I remember watching Deion Sanders asked him, like, what did you do differently? And then he responded with, you know, I've been on a 15-year hot streak. You don't do anything different. You just go out and you play the same game. So
is it frustrating?
Hey, nobody likes
likes losing 3 in a row. That's been kind of new to us. That's been kind of foreign territory for us. But it's part of football. And somebody asked if are you in a slump? And I said, well, I guess maybe I was, but I've been on about an 8.5-year hitting streak.
There you
going
go.
into that.
That's what I like to hear.
So it kind of came out of nowhere.
I won 9 championships. I ain't seen nobody else do that. We're going to keep doing that, and we're going to start winning some games.
So what do you got to say about the new acquisitions? Like the Lions owner, obviously, is probably the most active owner in the SML right now in terms of social chat, Twitter, being proactive about games. What do you think about the new ownership? Obviously, like Bino was one of the first guys that we had in the league, and has been in and out of the league throughout its history. And now we're starting to get some more fresh blood, I guess. Guys that are more active. What do you think about where we're heading as a league in direction with these new guys that we've got in?
All right, well, a lot of these guys are coming in. They know about Twitter. They see us on Twitter. They see us wherever. And like you said, it's just good for the league. It's getting some new blood in the veins, kind of resuscitating, getting some more energy in the league, and you can't complain about that. Like you said, the Lions is one guy. There's a few other guys I can't think of off the top of my head. I think Dolphins is another one. So, to get some fresh blood, but not only that, some just good quality guys, because you can stick in some guys who are total bums, but these guys are good quality guys to add to a league.
Right. So I guess my last thing we're going to hit on real quick, because I know you're limited on time, and that's going to be the topic, is the Giants. I got the Meats. So Meats is a lot different than what he used to be, at least in my opinion. Meats used to be a real soft-spoken guy, was always about making graphics and what way can I help the league kind of deal. Meats is now one of the biggest, if not the biggest, shit talker in the SML, and there's going to be
here's the thing. I like Meats.
Okay.
But you got to win before you start talking. I think you missed the playoffs last year, so get me a playoff win or something, man. Like, you just come in, at least win your division. Maybe not even win your division, and then you can talk all you want. But we're going to play in a little scrimmage game for the league to see, and I'm just going to bend them over.
Yeah.
So my confidence is hurt. No, man, we're gonna stick it in Meats, and it's gonna start a run.
All right then. Hey Prime, thanks for coming out, man. I'm gonna let you go. Good luck. I'll be sure to do like some kind of breakdown of that game afterwards. So stay tuned for that.
All right, I appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Take it easy. So as Prime mentioned in that segment that he's been basically the top dog for X amount of time, and he's kind of in a funk. I don't know though that the answer is simply just keep doing what you're doing. If it's not working, only time will tell if he'll be able to right the ship. He did mention that he was 1-3 last season. I did not realize that. He is 1-3 this season right now. If he's able to turn around and make playoffs again, I think he'd be a dangerous wild card in there, just because the it factor. You take away any type of roster. I mean, his roster's got to be only like in the 70s, if that, like 76 or so. Obviously not a great team from a roster standpoint. So, it'd be interesting to see if he's able to catapult himself back in the playoffs, But now I'm going to break down my own schedule. Got a little segment here that I did on a screen record, so we're going to go ahead and cut to that now. And unfortunately the schedule gods have not been in my favor this season. I managed to get into playoffs, got bounced by NYT last season. And you would hope for an easier schedule. That's not been the case. Week 1, we played DMI Row and the Panthers. It was a bloodbath, 22-8 win there. Week 2, we played against the Seahawks, and you're going to see an interesting part of the schedule here. And that Big Oshie, good player, almost came down, managed to come back. He was up 10-0, managed to tie it, threw a couple picks, and then he wound up getting a field goal. I got in a field goal range, but unfortunately with Ice the Kick feature, I did miss the kick, so that was a bummer. And then if you look, so that was Seahawks week 2 we played. Then week 3 we played the 49ers. Ice kick feature again. This time I managed to make the kick. Week 4 we played the Seahawks. Big Oshie this time. The first time I beat this guy. I got a post route, and just unfortunately for him, there was only like 5 or 6 seconds. He wasn't able to drive it and chance for the tie of the game. So we got the win there. And then the 49ers we played again. Always a tough game there against Fuzzy. But you look at it, man, that's 4 tough games. Seahawks, 49ers, Seahawks, 49ers, and then, we got Grandma's ends with the Bears, who was the Dolphins when I was the Patriots last Madden. Always a lot of good matchups there. Tough guy defensively, and if you look, he's 4-0 right now. So I don't think that's going to be any different in Week 6. I expect a really good game against the Bears. He's a tough defensive player. He likes to run the football, and he makes smart plays. Then we got the bye week. It's always good to play the bye because you don't have to worry about losing to the bye week. But Week 8, we've got the Bengals, and that's Mark Mills, another guy I haven't beat before. He's a tough guy, a lot of different plays, unique play style. It's hard to play against him. Hopefully we'll get the win there. And the guy I haven't beat this man was Gabmack, the Cardinals, Week 9. So it's going to be a tough game. Meats, Week 10. Meats is good at running the ball. Pretty, really good at running the ball ever since he was the Bengals. So he's a tough player in that respect. And then the fact that, we get to play him at home. Hopefully that'll help. We're going to go on the road against John and the Ravens. I believe it's John. He's a good player. I have played him all the way back to the very first online CFM I played, and that was pretty tough. So definitely going to be an interesting game there against the Ravens. Dim 49ers with the Saints. Finally got that off my back too. That was another game that I hadn't won yet. Playing against the Saints. Got one. I think I've only played him the one time so far, and I did beat him last season. So hopefully we can replicate those results, and I believe that was in New Orleans last time as well. So El Scrubbo, Week 13. He's a guy, and if you look in the chat, you talk about the Jaguars, talking about how El Scrubbo stole one from him. So that'll be an interesting game. You just never know when El Scrubbo is going to go ahead and take one from you. And in slow motion, he was good the last time he was in the league. He's very good this time. I thought he was going to go to the Super Bowl last season. He's got Baker Mayfield, he plays his balls off every time that he plays, so that'll be a tough game. I'll probably get a loss there. There's a lot of games I'm probably going to lose. I'll be lucky to be 9-7. But Iron Monkey, Steelers having a pretty good year. Once again, Gabmack, even though he's 0-3, he's a tough player. I don't expect circle wins in either one of those games. And then Week 17 is going to be no slouch either, playing against the Falcons with Lawyer Killers. That'll be interesting. It's going to be a very tough schedule for me. Very tough indeed. So always everyone's favorite part of the podcast, when I break down what's going on around the league. If we just take a look at the AFC, the Browns are, and this is according to the Daddy Leagues. Daddy Leagues and Madden go back and forth. The Browns, 4-0, number 1 in the conference. The Bills, 5-0. So you could flip-flop those two, 1 and 2. The Bills, tough team with lasers. Then of course you got the Jags there, just whooped up on the Colts 44-7. The Chargers are right there. The Dolphins currently sitting at a wild card spot, which is right since the Bills are currently undefeated. That could change. They got to play each other. The Titans are there at the 6th seed. That's an interesting kind of, I guess, a dark horse, or just a joker in the mix in the AFC South. He's tough, man. He's beat Prime every time they played so far. And then you look at guys around the bubble. The Broncos are right there, so it's going to be interesting to see. Well, it's always a matchup between the Broncos and the Chargers, the Broncos and the Raiders. The Broncos, regardless of who the owner is, they always seem to be hanging around. The Texans, Mr. October, he's still going to be right there. Deshaun Watson, tough defense. And like I mentioned earlier, yeah, we got the Browns number 1, so that's AFC North team. So Iron Monkey's going to have a lot to have to happen, but you're going to have a lot of good teams sitting out of the playoffs probably. NFC side, Bears, number 1 seed, undefeated. And you got me right now. The Cowboys, 3-1. Terrible two-step, always a tough player. Dem 49ers, 3-1. The Seahawks, going to be right there. So me and the Seahawks will probably win the division again anyway. The Eagles, what can you say? He's a good player. I really appreciate what he's been able to do with Philadelphia. Keep him, as a contender status. The Giants, and like 3-2, Eagles and Giants. So you got Meats, and I'm blanking on the name of the Eagles. I do apologize, but Falcons sitting right there out of it because of the Saints. So you got a lot of good teams that are probably going to be on the outside looking in come playoff time, and that's nothing new here in the SML. And of course, we have to talk about stats. Look at the stats here. Keithan Triplett, I believe that's the Giants quarterback if I'm not mistaken. Carson Wentz, 1196, 7 touchdowns. Mason Rudolph, 1194, 8 touchdowns. Triplett is the Dolphins quarterback. Wow, I was wrong. So a lot going on here. The rushing game, Saquon Barkley looks to run away with the rushing title, which is fine. Brandon Cook currently leads. That could very easily change. Interceptions, Shaquem Griffin has doubled the closest. He has 8. The one-handed god has doubled his nearest opponent. There's a lot of 7-sack leaders there, all tied at 7. So, a lot of interesting stats coming on this time, and we're only about, a quarter, not even quite a halfway yet. It's probably about a quarter way through the season. A lot of interesting stats so far. So there you have it, another episode. The Colts did manage to beat Meats in a very uneventful game. It kind of displayed some outside running by the Giants, a little bit of running by the Colts, a lot of turnovers between the two teams. Grand scheme of things, it means nothing. Maybe Prime will get back on track. Maybe he won't. Maybe the Browns will win the Super Bowl this season. Maybe they won't. Maybe I will be in the Super Bowl and win one. I currently have the longest drought between championships in this league, so we're trying to undo that. We're trying very hard, hoping those offensive linemen will make a difference. A lot of hope. This is the season of hope. So if you're tuning in for the first time, hit the subscribe button. Comment below on who your Super Bowl favorite is for the Sim Madden League. If you are interested in joining our league, apply at simmaddenleague.com. Check us out on Daddy Leagues. We have this podcast here on YouTube. Got a lot of different avenues. We got team Twitters. Check us out on Twitter at Sim Madden League and all of the other Twitter handles that go along with it. We're on GroupMe and Discord. Make sure to check us out if you look for a league. We'd love to have you. So, thanks for watching. Have a great day.